What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Bergmann. We are here in March, and our goal tonight is going to be to buy the vegetable growing area, which is, I think, 4 or 5 greenhouses, a cold storage building, 2 storage heaps for compost or manure, and a large water tank. Right now we're mowing our grass. We're going to use this to start making our compost, and hopefully we'll have compost by the end of the night. We're going to get our greenhouses up and running. We're also going to be talking about the new news. The news for the night. Giants has, well, let the cat out of the bag. No, the cat was never really in the bag because it was been leaked for weeks. Peas are coming to Farming Simulator 25. Peas, that is indeed the news. They also basically confirmed green beans in the bottom of their blog post. Maybe we'll learn about green beans next week, because hopefully we're going to get weekly blog posts from this point forward. Good old boy gamer, Midwest farmer, Simper Buffo, Gold Gaming. We got Sherry in the house. Tookie's hanging around looking for Space Marines. He's a confused guy. The Sim Brit's here. It's late. It's late or early depending on how you look at it for him. But hey, we appreciate you coming over and hanging out on this side of the ocean. Avery's here in town also. Anybody else I missed? Phil. What do y'all think of peas? I asked earlier, before we rolled the credits, and well, I think most of you are looking forward to peas. It's a unique crop with a unique harvester. I learned some more information today that I didn't realize, that there are garden peas, or let's say edible peas, and then there are field peas, and they're different. And they're harvested differently. Garden peas, or edible peas, are often harvested green. And that's where the Oxbow harvester is coming from. And then there are field peas. We'll go with those. Those are often harvested as the crop dries out. And often with a traditional grain harvester. Like you'd harvest your wheat, barley, oats, and canola. But yeah, it opens up a lot of avenues for various canning and other food productions centered around peas. When I was putting that video together, I was thinking to myself, oh, if we only had carrots in the game, we could have a factory where we take peas and carrots and we get canned peas and carrots. And then I realized, oh, we do have carrots. Ah, we got carrots already. So yeah, lots of interesting possibilities with respect to he's coming. Sherry wants screaming goats. I want fainting goats. I want to hawk. I want to go up to him and honk my horn and have him faint. Well, Billy, they may be available on select mod maps, but that doesn't mean they're in game. And those would be field peas, because you're harvesting those with a traditional grain harvester, as opposed to garden peas, or we'll say edible peas. I really don't know what you put field peas in. I don't know if they're used in like animal food or other things. I really don't have much experience with large-scale vegetable farming in real life. It's just not something I see around here. cattle feed. What's up, Professor of Logic? How's it going, man? How's it going? You know what? Before we go and forget, this video is brought to you by Nuka-Cola and Mark Bauer. Thank you for being farm barons. "59 days, 22 hours until Farm Sim 25 releases. On November 12th, you can win your own copy if you are on PC by entering to win explanation giveaway. We'll give you a link to that. We'll be giving away a copy on, I believe, Sunday, November 10th. It will be able to be redeemed from the Giants eShop, which is why it's going to be available for PC players only on November 12th when the game launches. That will include the base game as well as the Year 1 Season Pass. I think once we have made a few passes here, I'm going to hire a helper. Everyone take a look at some of these screenshots that we got today and talk a little bit more about them. Look a little bit closer at them. Let's just square this off. And then we'll hire a helper off. What do y'all think of the other news last week? We talked a little bit about it last time we streamed, but the other news related to what looked like mushrooms, green onions, and red peppers. Chili peppers also coming to the game, most likely as a garden product or a greenhouse product. Because they're going to be able to be sold at the little vegetable stands. I'm interested in learning about the greenhouses as well as productions. Alright, now we've squared that off. Off you go, buddy. Off you go. Let's take a look at our peas. This is going to be growth stage 1. Right, we can see our peas here. They are planted fairly far apart. And look at that. Look at that new ground texture. We are zoomed in a bit here, but hey, that does look awful nice. Not super flat, super smooth. All right, so there we go. Remember, we got this little barn here. It's all the same scene. So first growth stage, second growth stage, we can really see again how spread apart they are, because of course these plants are going to spread out a bit. We don't want to overcrowd these guys. Third growth stage, starting to see the leaves, the little stringers, runners going on, right? Pretty much covering most of the ground at this point. Really filling in the gaps of where those plants were. And then we're at our ready to harvest state at this point. Completely filled the whole field in at this point. This is harvested, but there are plant debris that comes about here. We're not seeing the plant debris. We're just seeing the harvested plant. And then the state, which nobody really wants to see, withered. Withers. No, I don't want to see withers. How about Ask Jeeves? Whoever used Ask Jeeves as a search engine. So here we have our oxbow harvester. I really like this scene. We've got our ready to harvest peas. We got the harvester here. We can see our tire tracks. We have then our chaff coming out the back of the harvester. I thought it was interesting that this was closed in. I wonder if you can open this and then see your peas inside. We got a conveyor belt here animation, and this is where it's going to offload. And we might be able to see our peas right there coming up from this header. What a weird looking machine, right? I was looking on the Oxbow website about how this header works. I'll pull up the PDF a little bit later. We see we got our crop going in, our plant going up this chute right under the operator, and then I guess it gets separated, and then we have some dirt and debris coming out here on the side, and then the rest I guess is going to be shooting out the back end or underneath. And we can see the texture of the plant matter left over. Another angle that this one does have tracks. We'll see in the spec sheet that we can also, well, real life, this also comes by default with Midas front tires, and then the tracks are an option. But we don't know what we're going to see with respect to in-game configuration. We got the Fendt Vario something right in our trailer, and then here we are offloading. There's our American license plate. We got another angle on that. The peas coming in there. Here's just a couple shots of a pea field. Different times of the day. And doesn't this look awful familiar? Giants was being a little cheeky last week with the John Deere and Great Plains Cedar fact sheet. Pretty sure this is the exact same screenshot we had on that fact sheet. Little did we know that we were planting peas in that screenshot. Cheeky little buggers, aren't they? Cheeky little buggers there, at any rate. You can see a little bit of tire deformation. Here are the front tires and the rear tires. And then, well, behind here, the deformation is gone because we've run this through the cedar. We've got that new texture that we saw in that first growth stage. Our Great Plains cedar. So we got 4 months. We're going to plant between March and April, and then we're going to harvest between July and September. But you might think, well, that math doesn't seem to work. March, April, May, June, July, that works, right? But April, so May, June, July, August is 4 months. Why is September there? Right, so it should be July and September. I don't know, or July to August, if it's really 4 months and we can only plant between March or April. But at any rate, 250 liters of seed per hectare, not so bad on the seed, because again, it's fairly wide planted, right? So 9,600 liters on average for your yield, and then $3,119 on easy difficulty with respect to the average selling price. Now, I suspect peas, just like spinach, cannot be stored. So this is going to be, in theory, realistically, a straight from field to sell point or processing factory. Really, we're not dumping this in a silo and holding them around because, well, nobody eats dried out peas, right? Right? I don't. Maybe you do, but I don't. Green beans. Green beans are coming up. Which one of these do you think we'll see in the game? The BH8150. This is straight from the Oxbow site. The GB7150. The GB2140E. Or here we have a trailed green bean harvester, BH100. 2530. Smaller deal. Maybe we'll find out next week. Right? Maybe we'll find out. Because they are coming next week. Alright, let's that's other screenshots I grabbed. Let me pull up the PDF that is taken from. Because I want to show you how this header works. Here it is. Okay, here we have it with the zoom in. Here we have it with the tracks. And remember, this is harvested green, right? So this thing's gonna be all grimy. This thing ought to get dirty pretty quick. We can see it configured here though in this schematic with the Midas tires. The tires default front tires are Midas 865 R32. AC 70N. Rear tires are Alliance 745 R26.5. But we do have the ability to come in here with optional cloth tracks. But look how this pickup header works. So this is the header. We've got a large beating drum, right? Your crop comes in from somewhere. Then we have the stripper roller. We've got an auger. We've got a second stripper to strip off the things. Then we've got our conveyor belt to collect our peas. And then the chaff is chucked out the side. So I thought that was pretty interesting. This is all from the Oxbow website. So there we go. That was a whoa! Oh my gosh, we got it's raining. It's raining. That's fine. That's fine. We don't need to dry this grass out. We're just going to dump it in a composter in order to rot. So wet grass is fine. Heck, wet grass might be preferable. Yeah, deer would eat. Yeah, where I grew up too, we had a big problem with deer and corn and soybeans. In fact, we would get permits. We would get deer permits to clear them out as a result of the crop damage. So it would be interesting at some point if someone modeled that type of crop loss due to wildlife. Like, you know, within the first, let's say, "25 yards, 25 meters," I don't know, we'll just make up a number. From the edge of a field, if it's butting up against a wooded area, would have some percent of crop loss as a result of wildlife. Right? I'd also like to see like reduced crop growth if there's trees adjacent to the field. So there's a field I drive by on my way to and from work. And it's right by the road. And between the road and this field, there are a line of trees. And I don't know what these trees are. They're maybe dogwoods or something. But at any rate, they're right beside the field. And every year you can see basically that the crop that is basically within range of the root complex, because every year there is this half oval right by the tree. Everywhere there's a tree where the crop is stunted. It's noticeably shorter. And my only presumption is, one, the shade from the canopy of the tree, and two, the tree roots just sucking all the available water out of the soil there, and as such, those sections of the field just don't get the water they need. Christian, are you ready for Arkansas? It releases on Monday. I think we're going to be doing a special Arkansas ATS convoy here on this channel on Monday. Alright, let's go start collecting our ground. So that's what I'd like to see, some things like, you know, if we had trees super close. These aren't super close, but if we had trees super close to the field. Alright, so imagine the field was right here. Right? The field edge was right here. And this circle around the trees would be stunted. Like everything right here and up to the tree root or the tree trunk would be stunted as far as growth, because again the tree's sucking up all the juices, sucking up all the nutrients of the soil. That would be cool. That would add a level of realism. Crop loss as a result of wildlife. That would add some level of realism. Giants has been adding realism-ish things to the game, which is good to see. Did they remake that movie, or are you talking about like the original? I feel like I heard that they remade that. Well, you know, I'm a firm believer that there aren't too many original ideas anymore. And that's why we get all these remakes. No one in Hollywood can come up with a real original idea. We're just going to call you Captain G. Thank you for the sub there, Captain G. Because I have no idea. where to even start with that name. Captain G. I can do that one. All right, before we go and fill this up. All right, we got this one. Let's lease this, and we'll sell this one. Oh, he's gonna drive around in the field. Hey, whatever works for you. I have a feeling we're gonna see lots of folks basically experimenting with the ground deformation. I'm gonna be interested to see how my low end system that I use to test maps on in 22 handles 25. I hope it's not completely unplayable. So I would like to continue that kind of comparison and be able to say how a map might perform on a system with lower specs. I know FS19 did not play very good at all with integrated graphics systems. FS17, on the other hand, it did play marginally. You can at least play it at an okay clip on low settings. Alright, let's go put this in our compost heap. Christian, have you pre-ordered FS25 or are you gonna wait until release? I'm also super excited to try the USB ignition switch with the collector's edition. I've gone through and pre-ordered the Giants eShop copy. I've got a pre-order of a collector's edition, and I pre-ordered a Steam. I've got like all the platforms covered, well, all the PC platforms. Well, Nathan, I mean, they're not gonna turn it off, but they're not gonna be releasing DLC for FS22, and most modders are gonna stop creating mods for 22. But Giants is not gonna shut down the mod hub. You can still download FS15 mods off the Giants mod hub if you know the proper URL to use. You can get FS17 mods from Giants mod hub, FS19 mods, FS22 mods, and then when 25 comes out, FS25 mods. I missed my turn. So if you don't want to move to 25, if you're fine playing 22, then you can continue to play 22 basically for as long as you want. There are people playing FS15 still, 17, 19, 11, 9, 13. Well, in 25, we're not going to be scoring maps. Well, it's gonna have seasonal cycles, so yeah, there will be snow in the winter, or a chance of snow in the winter, depending on the map. I want to see different growth calendars, different seasonal calendars per default map. Now, we'll tell you that Arkansas doesn't see a whole lot of snow. So I would not be expecting a whole lot of heavy snow winters from Riverbend Springs. And I gotta think that an East Asian map probably doesn't see a whole lot of snow either. I don't know really a whole lot about East Asia, but what I think I know is that it's kind of a hot and humid place, which doesn't really jive with winter snowy wonderland. But snow should still be a thing. Probably my guess is the chance of snow is probably less than a chance of a tornado. Yeah. Just based on where the map is based. I mean, if it was like a Michigan map, then you'd almost be assured to have a nice snowy winter every winter. No, Blue Butterfly, we are doing compost. Because we're going to make compost in order to fire up some greenhouses. Hopefully by the end of the stream. Mojo, Jojo, what is up? So we'll be learning more about the East Asian map at the Tokyo Game Show, which is toward the end of this month. I think it's September 26th-ish. It's about 2 weeks away. I'm trying to look at my calendar, but I can't see it. But we know we have seasonal cycles because, one, we've seen different seasons in screenshots, and two, because in the collector's edition image that shows you what's available in the collector's edition, there are 3 posters, and one of the posters that's on the top showed the growth calendar, and that's where we learned that there were 25 crops. Well, I don't really have wood chips, and at this juncture I don't have straw, so this is all I got. Now we'll probably have extra that I could put over in the science bunker. It's all good. Like any organic material here on Bergmann can become compost. So we could add straw, we could add hay, we can add grass, we can add manure, we can add sugar beets, we can add potatoes. Pretty much anything that would rot in real life, we can add into the compost heap. We can add silage in there. But I was saying during my peas video, please go like this video. Thank you very much. That I was really thinking nowadays that this might be the most feature-rich farm sim to date. Right? If we run down through all of the things that are coming new to the game, I think the list of new things coming to FS25 far, far outstrips the new things that came to 22, the new things that came to 19, 17, 15, 13, and 11. Now we can't really count 9 because 9 was the original, and pretty much everything came new in 9, but I rambled off a short list in the video, but there were still a fair number of ones that I excluded, and we don't know everything yet. What about FS22? So like, for example, we have 5 new crops coming to 25 with long grain rice, regular rice, spinach, green beans, and peas. In 22 we had 3 crops in sorghum, grapes, and olives. We also have 3 new crops most likely coming to the greenhouses with the chili peppers, mushrooms, and green onions. We know we have a new production in ropes coming. I think that may be the only new production we know so far. I'm holding out hope. I'm holding out hope that we have propane as a fill type, because we saw in one of the screenshots a propane tank down at what looked like a production point for a cement plant. So maybe cement is a production, because we do have buildable farmhouses after all. Well, Sherry, that's up to debate. It was pointed out that in a screenshot or video, possibly a video, where we had the little field info, it said like estimated yield, or basically there were remnants of precision farming showing up in that info screen. Well, that was some chat over on a either on a partner Discord or on a ambassador Discord, I forget which. I haven't going looking myself, but I think that's possible. Now, of course, it was originally funded by a grant from John Deere. So if the terms of that whole arrangement were for it to be an add-on, possibly for some number of game versions, or maybe an add-on eventually making its way as a base feature, it's hard to tell. Ran into a stupid pole. All right. What do you think is the prettiest FS22 map? I have an issue with what is the best X, because in 430 plus map videos, and for me to properly answer that, I would have to be able to remember all 430 map videos I've ever done. I'm lucky if I remember 10. Now, I will say that the Holzer map that came out with TerraLife Plus, I like that one a lot. I don't like that it's got TerraLife Plus forced down your throat, but I like the looks of that one a lot. And sadly, I think a whole lot of people won't have the opportunity to play it or experience it because it's got TerraLife Plus being shoved down your throat. And to some degree, you know, my overall my overall lack of color fidelity, let's say that. My overall lack of being able to see colors in high fidelity means that, well, I don't really get the full impact sometimes of what a map looks like because I'm not seeing all of the colors that maybe are necessarily there that others are picking up on, right? Rabbit Rob G, 39 months. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You know, it would be nice to play with a Rabbit Rob G or F. You know what I'm saying? We got Arkansas releasing on Monday. We got Wreckfest every Friday night over on our secondary channel, Explanation FK's Funhouse. For a link to that. Complete utter mayhem. We just crash into people and just take people out. It's brutal. It's brutal. If you think you're going to see clean racing, then, well, try again. But it's a perfect way to close out a work week. I can tell you that much. You got frustrations, had a hard day at work, had a hard week at work. Well, what's better than getting into Wreckfest and just completely taking out other people and just messing up their day? But be prepared. If you're going to dish it, you better be ready to take it. Well, Rabbit Rob, if you go Explanation FS25, it just might give you a really good pre-order link the Giants eShop with a really great content creator's code on the back. Or if you go FS25CE for Collector's Edition, you might just get an Amazon affiliate link to buy the Collector's Edition using a particular creator's Collector's Edition. I do appreciate using the code there. So you get the year one, you can get the base game, you can get the base game with the year one season pass. Giants will be offering the year one season pass as a standalone item once the game releases. Wow, what do we got? We got 69,000 liters of organic waste in our bunker at this point. Well, the collector's edition's available on Amazon, GameStop, Best Buy, but I only have an Amazon affiliate link, so you can get it from any of those locations. It's just, I want you paying me. is that the map done by the by that dude that did the Italia map? I think that Italia map is nice. A lot of custom buildings. He put out another one recently, right? Yeah, that guy. I mean, his maps are really nice. Yeah. I give you that. They have a nice aesthetic feel to them because so much of it is custom model. Now, I wish he would be able to get those maps on the Mod Hub for console players. No doubt they'll need to be shrunk down and everything due to slot count, but it is a true shame that some of the, well, probably most of the best, air quote, best maps out there are PC only. Because I'll be honest, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, I feel, since I've really been impressed with an all platforms map. They just end up feeling so cookie cutter a lot of the times. I remember Alma. Like, Alma's nice in its own aesthetic. They want to go to 100,000 liters of compost, and then we'll cover it over. I think that's going to be more than enough compost for our long-term needs. Then the rest of this can go into a silage bunker. I'm hoping we can fast forward into April and our compost will be ready. We'll be able to buy the vegetable place and get it up and running. So Rabbit Rob, was it the prospect of peas that got you going? Was it the inclusion of some red equipment that we saw in the first fact sheet drop? Don't forget to come by the channel tomorrow for our weekly fact sheets. No surprise, we're going to have fact sheets every Friday between now and release. What's going to be in those? Ha ha! Yeah, can't tell you. Ah, there we go. We've reached our 100,000 lettries. And we're at 100% composted. Because I don't want to have to run up and down that thing 700 times. Cover it up. Get to cooking. It's all about the fainting goats. I want to learn about goats. Although I don't like goats' eyes. They really freak me out. What one feature that has yet to be announced do you hope comes to 25? What feature do you hope comes to 25 that's not yet been announced? Then I'll ask another question here after this. But typity typity type. Get those little fingers. Clickety clickety clock. Warriors for Lion. That's all you gotta do is wait for a South American map. Every South American map has a line port. Professor of Logic. I'm not going to do that, but my daughter, for whatever reason, seems to think Goat Simulator is the bee's knees. Gold Gaming's chill. He's like, dude, I'm happy with what we got. I don't need anything more, Dan. I don't need anything more. No, she would never say that. Oh, that was old man injecting what a teenager would say. Contract delivery option, like that. Explain that. Like contracts to deliver grain are just different ways of delivering contract product. One, two, we got 5 more windrows. I'm hoping this is going to be like 3, 4 passes. I mean, that would be cool. Right? I want to, yeah. I like the maps where we have some silos where we can go and activate the dryer on them. I remember growing up, way back in the Coons age of the 80s and early 90s, mostly 80s. We lived out in the country. We lived on a farm, but it wasn't a animal farm. No, not like the book Animal Farm. But we didn't have live animals. It was just a crop farm. We would call it, in game, we would call it just an arable farm. But we did a lot of wheat, barley, soybeans, corn, and a ton of hay. And I can recall with fond memories laying in bed at night. We didn't have air conditioning, so the windows were up. And in hearing off in the distance, because we probably lived maybe a quarter mile from the farm, and hearing the dryers whine in the night as they ran and blew cool air over the grain that was put in the bin. They had burners on them, so we could burn propane too if we needed to blow hot air on them. It's a very distinctive whine. It's also very, very loud. And probably these days you wouldn't do what we did back then, like, you know, stand right beside one running, or mow the grass around one running, and realize that when you got close to it, the mower went silent because it was drowned out by the fan of the dryer. Take bids on delivery of a certain amount of produce or product at a certain time. So I think I think GTX had a mod that did that. Or was that more like, I think maybe that was more like somebody wants to buy 75,000 liters of product. And you have to deliver product. No, we didn't have Panthers. Farmer G, good evening, sir. Super late for you. Alright, so we've talked about what killer feature do you want to see come to Farming Simulator 25 that's not yet announced. What one feature that has been announced has been the one thing that is, you were like, hell yeah, can't wait? I know what Cher's gonna say, and it's not screaming goats. Type away, clickety clickety clack. Later, YouTube Victor. Catch you later. Round deformation. That's the killer feature for Avery. We had, maybe it was a cougar. It wasn't a panther. Maybe it was a cougar. Maybe it was, I don't think it was a mountain lion. But I know when I was in high school, I was out deer hunting, and I saw what I thought must have been the biggest dog I've ever seen in my life walk past. And later in the day, I told my grandfather that I saw this thing go by, and he was like, "What? Why didn't you shoot it?" And I don't know if he said it was a cougar, mountain lion. It wasn't a wolf. I don't know what the heck it was, but it was something. It was a wild predator, and yeah. But I thought when I saw it, I'm like, dang, that's a big dog. You're just hard to please, man. Nothing excites you, but you're still wanting the game. Dedication. We're still hoping to win you over. AI improvements, yes. The improvements to the hired helper, GPS, right? Come on, we haven't forgotten about that, have we? Nobody's jumping up and down the third-person view. I mean, you see some of the other folks out there, and it's like a whole new game if they're on offer third-person view. See, that's the thing, right, Professor Logic? It's trying to keep those expectations, you know, somewhere on planet Earth, and not overhype it in our own head, that no matter what is actually delivered, it's a disappointment. I had that happen with one map in FS17. I was super, super excited. This was back when forums were a thing, and people would post images on forums for weeks to months on end about the development of a map. Now they do that stupid stuff on Facebook, but it's like, maybe it's just me, but you can never find that crap, and you can never go back to it and say, oh, let me look at those images again, right? But on a forum where the map author has got one thread, and they can just post after post after post of pictures, you can come back to the thread and just Google over the images, and then the map gets released, and you're like, oh, I can't wait. I've seen all these beautiful images. And then you realize that the only thing really worth seeing are the images you've already seen. And the rest of the map is pretty blah. And then you're like, oh, this map is not good. I built this expectation up over months that this would be the best thing ever. And I've already seen everything that there is to see. I didn't want to play Farm Sim for weeks. So I promised myself I would never get overhyped again. And that's why I try to, one, not follow developments of maps. I don't follow anybody on FacePlace. I don't look at forum postings or anything related to maps in progress. I try to not watch preview videos of maps until they're out. That way that I can't overhype it in my head and then be drastically disappointed. Fog. I really hope Giants is overdoing the fog, because I don't want every morning to be a foggy bottoms. every morning I don't want to think that I'm going to have the Headless Horseman come running out of the fog to take my head off. And I'm hoping the ground deformation calms itself down a little bit, because the deformation they've shown so far feels a bit extreme to me. Even on what would be super hard compacted soil, like a very hard compacted gravel road. I'm sorry, if you drive a tractor over hard, long-standing gravel road, you're not going to see ruts. All right, we're not driving covered wagons here where we have ruts up to the wheel wells. But I think they recently had a bit of a breakthrough with ground deformation. So I'm hoping if we see new video footage post Gamescom build, that it's going to be toned down a bit. Well, we've seen where, at least in the Gamescom video footage we've seen, a tractor just sitting somewhere, other than on hard asphalt, seems to leave some pretty big divots when it moves, as if all ground is spongy, and just sitting on the ground makes it squish. Well, Schultz, he likes it here because we don't berate him, okay? We don't beat him over the head with insults. And I understand that that's kind of how Twitchers work. But that's not how we work over here on the tubes. The tubes are all about me and you. And we're nice here on the tubes. All right, let me show you this. Let me show you this, okay? All right, look at here we have, this is the B-roll that they provided us in early August or late August related to Gamescom. All right, so we're here on Riverbend Springs. This is a long established gravel dirt road. This has had so many vehicles drive on it. It shouldn't compact anymore, unless it's like mud. This is clearly not mud. All right, watch the tractor drive off. Right here. There's this giant divot where the tractor was sitting. And let's get up. See right here. Right there. What the hell? You stupid junk. Right there you can see. I can't zoom in, but you can see right here. Like, you twist your ankle and you stepped in that. And that's just from this tractor driving on this hard, compact road. All right, here it is before. Before. And now after. It's clearly it's a divot. And clearly it's directly behind this tire. See? Clearly that's a divot. You may be like, I can't see on that little screen. You got a giant 4K TV. That's clearly a divot. I wasn't there earlier. Right? That's a divot. And this is like, are you, look at this. Really? I mean, if this tractor sat here for another week, would it be buried to its cab? This is not soft soil. This is clearly a road that has had vehicles driving up and down it. Farm machinery driving up and... Oh, God. What the hell is going on? I mean, proportionally, these divots are like 6 inches steep. Look at that. You're going to twist your neck if you trip in that. This isn't mud. You drive it up and down that road 6 or 7 times, you've done buried it up to the bottom of the frame. Oh my gosh, we got this junk. All right, so here, right, we get this, we get a pretty good divot in the rear. Tracks don't divot at all, right? That's fine. That's fine. But like this is hard dirt. This isn't soft dirt anymore. This is fairly hard dirt. Maybe I come from the land of rocky soil because you can't basically dig a shovel full of dirt without grabbing rock. But when we harvested 30 some years ago, the harvester wasn't leaving giant divots, giant ruts behind it. Now, what I did like to see is the deformation on this tractor with twins appears to be less than that of the harvester, right? Implying that wide tires or duals are going to have a significant change. Right. The rest of these were just demonstrations. Right? I mean, that's the extreme there. I don't think I've ever watched this with audio. At any rate, I hope they tone it down a wee little bit. Just saying. Like, it'd be cool if you had a choice, not to turn it off, but it'd be cool if you had a choice. Like, I went low, medium, or high deformation. But again, it's still a work in progress. 59 days, 21 hours to release. Plenty of time to tweak it up. But I could see, you know, a nice, soft soil because you've plowed it up, you've cultivated it, you've worked it, you've got a really great seed bed ready to go. Yeah, driving a tractor on that, yeah, you're gonna leave your marks. But again, maybe it's because I live back in the land of rock, and occasionally you have some dirt between the rocks. The idea of digging a foot deep, foot diameter hole and not hitting a rock is a pipe dream. All right, let's buy our. It shouldn't take long. Schultz is frustrated with Brookfest. Alright, we'll compact this. Here we are, we're 2 fields of wheat. No, fields of barley. I'm hoping to have enough money to buy the brewery once we have some barley ready. Is Schultz expecting his placards? Let's go over here and see if we're done. Oh, not quite. Let's go check out our new facility. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 greenhouses. We got a basin. What? No, I thought there was a dead duck in there. No, it's just pipe. We got a basin full of water. We got cold storage. And we have 2 heat. 2 areas where we can dump material like compost. We can hear and turn on the vent. Turn on the light. Right, we can manage our production. So we can make lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, cauliflower, carrots, and mushrooms. The compost, manure, and water. All right. come back here. Turn that off. Oh my gosh. I hit the wrong button. So, does it do that? Does it do that when you're only on the server? Like if you stream just single player Wreckfest, it's fine? When you're like multiplayer farm sim is fine. Really wish you could try a hard wire connection. I mean, I could probably... I don't know where that server is. It's probably in New York. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Well, if you wouldn't play with a controller, it would be more fair. Because controllers are cheating. This water storage is really cool. If you haven't seen my video on the greenhouses here on the Hof, basically, if it rains, well, water just collects here and is stored here, and you could unload. Right, you could overflow water into this or you can just you know, pull water out of it. This trailer doesn't have them. You could put a hose there. Does this thing fit in here? Barely. I may need to get a different trailer. I do. Of course I do. Alright, that's fine. Oh, well, we could just leave it here with the pigs. Let's go get a trailer I know works. I mean, we gotta wait for a compost to ferment anyway. Oh. Well, we're gonna give what a look. It's hidden behind that stupid heart. Alright, we're gonna get mods and DLCs. And we're going to come here to the miniature agricultural pack. We're going to grab our water tanker. And we're going to pick our irrigation sprayer. When's it coming out? Is it like just 2024, no date? Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know where to. I've looked. I don't know where. The reactions? Oh. Oh, you know what? Look, lady. I don't really know how you can plant mushrooms in the bottom of a thing, but okay. We're just gonna leave that here. I don't know why it's not working. Well, you know, they've hinted plenty of times, right? They've hinted plenty of times that you're going to be chatting it up with the old NPCs. Now I'm hoping what that means is that they will be people we have to go to in order to get contracts and missions. So back in the olden days of Farm Sim 17, you did contracts and you gained reputation with the various farmers around the map. And as you gained reputation, then they would give you a discount on buying their land. And if you did like 10 contracts for them, then you got maybe like a 20% off discount or something. And that was kind of like the best discount you could get. Oh, there's our compost. We need to go find a tractor with floating arms. It's not you. It's you. So, like, I'm hoping that you have to go find, you know, Mary Jane Farmer. And if you find Mary Jane Farmer on maybe an NPC farm or something, then you can talk to Mary Jane, and Mary Jane will say, hey, I've got some work I need done. Would you like to do it for me? And you'd be like, what's in it for me? And she'd be like, well, I'll bake you some cookies. And you'd be like, woman, I don't work for cookies. I work for money. You need to pay me money. Right? But at any rate, you would do work for NPCs. Like, go harvest my field. And then after you harvested the field, you would come back to this NPC and say, hey, I did the work. Pay me. And then you would get your reward. And not just clickety-click from the field. That'd be kind of cool. That's in a different farming game. And then, like, construction missions. So a construction mission, you know, you might go to Farmer Paul, and Farmer Paul might say, my barn recently got damaged from a twister. Can you help me out? I feel like I got a different trailer. Let me find that other trailer. And I need you to deliver these products to my barn so I can repair it. Right? Things like that. That would be cool. They made mention of a lady down at the animal dealer that will give you information about how to care for animals. So one person has theorized in chat the other week that maybe it's like an enhanced help menu. Maybe you go to an old-time farmer, Farmer Joe. He's been farming since, you know, the 40s. And Farmer Joe knows basically how to farm pretty much any crop. And you may go to Farmer Joe and say, I'm looking to get into green bean farming, but I don't really know a lot about it. Can you maybe suggest how I go about doing green bean farming? And maybe Farmer Joe gives you some helpful advice on green bean farming. Or Sally down at the animal dealer, she might say, oh, you're looking to get into goats. Well, you know, goats are really handy because you can make cheese from goat milk. But in order to get the best results, you need to make sure you feed your goats good. So you should feed your goats, you know, X and whatever. I think that'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, that'd be cool too. Right, if you borrow a tractor and a cultivator, you have to go to that NPC farm and collect the tractor and cultivator from there. That'd be kind of neat. Hopefully we'll learn more about NPCs and our interactions with them in the coming few weeks. Because we're just 8.5 weeks away. Basically 8 blog posts between now and release. We have a blog post on spinach. We've had a blog post on peas. Right, we're due for a blog post on green beans. We haven't had a blog post on rice, so we're due a blog post on rice. Will we get one for rice and long grain rice, or will we get a combined blog post? Well, for me, Terra Life doesn't fit into Farm Sim at all. I don't see myself using it. You know, maybe that'll change once the documentation comes out. Probably not. It's just too much. If you could go into a config menu or open up an XML file and basically activate or deactivate certain components, then yeah. But if it's all or nothing, it's too much, and it's just too much. I don't play Farm Sim in order to have a notebook beside me to keep track of the 17 ingredients that I need to add. and the 12 steps I need to take in order to get the right silage. I play Farm Sim to chill out after a hard day's work. Sometimes after a stressful day's work or a busy day's work, I just want to sit and zone out. I want to go mindlessly do farming. So it's a big shame, and I know there was a comment on why documentation wasn't at release, but in my opinion, I will still hold that documentation needed to be released at release. And if that meant holding the mod for another month, then that's what it should do. Some people will figure it out, other people won't. Some people will just give up on it because they couldn't figure it out and never come back to it ever again. But if there was some documentation with it, then maybe some people that would have given up on it won't. Oh, that's not a dump point. That's a collection point for organic waste, which goes right back into making compost. There we go, it's hard at work. I mean, I had the same frustrations with Maze Plus in 19. That it had to be built into the map. And if you wanted to play a map that had it, you were forced to use it. And in 22, it became very selectable, right? You could add it to pretty much any map you wanted. You didn't need to basically have it built in. And maybe in 25, that will be a possibility where it can be added to any map without having to be built into the map. But it may be just that there's so much going on that things need to be built in. Oh, I know what I need to do. Hip side sprayer. This is, I think, it is so cool. I mean, one of the big proponents or reasons for Maze Plus development and Terra Life Plus's development is the passion for realism to be in the game. And I say passion because, well, there are those that are very passionate about what makes the game realistic. And for me, growing up where I've grown up and seeing area dairy farmers, seeing area just cattle farming, beef farming, whatever you want to call it, seeing small family farms on YouTube that have cattle. They're not feeding these complex multi-ingredient mixes. They're feeding hay straight off the round bale. They're feeding maybe grain that's been run through a mill, but it's pretty much like any grain. One year it's corn, one year it's barley. In the winter they run out of hay, so they feed silage. It might be corn silage, it might be Sudan silage, right? When we made hay 30 years ago, we cut it, we let it sit in the sun for 2 days, we windrowed it, and we baled it. That's how we made our hay. Last time I looked at Maize Plus, you had it TED like at least twice, if not more times. So it's you realistic is what you know and what you experience, and I think the majority, if not all, of the developers in Maize Plus and Paralife Plus are European. Clearly, it's going to be European focused on how they do things, or maybe how they have to do things because of their environment or their soil. Which is where I would like selectability to be. But the idea of having 48 game weeks and up to 24 growth stages, I think it's a great idea. Love it. I don't have any problem with long growing years. I like the idea of being able to, from a weekly, near weekly basis, see my crop grow taller and taller and taller, as opposed to in the game here having at most 4 stages of growth before ready to harvest. Right? I like that idea. I like the idea of baby animals. We're getting that already in 25. I like the idea of seeing the animals grow and go through multiple stages. We have some of that in 25 now. And there's a whole lot to Terra Life that's just scratching the surface, right? But for me, at the 20,000 square foot level, the 20,000 foot level, it's too much for my interest in how I want to play. And that's fine. I can choose not to use it. But what's disappointing is I can't choose to play a map without it if the map isn't released in 2 formats. A format with it and a format without it. And that's where Maze Plus really had an advancement in 22, because in 22 you can add it to any map you want. Just drop the mod in, activate it, and there you go. But in 19 it had to be built into the map. So you had two choices: either you played the map and used Maze Plus, or some aspect of Maze Plus, or you didn't play the map at all. And as we see now, there are just 4 maps released so far. 2 of those have been updated, so 2 maps do have non-Terra Life Plus variants, but 2 maps do not. So if you want to play on the Holtz map, or the other one, which I don't remember the name on, you pretty much have to play it the Terra Life Plus way, or none at all. But in the end, it's up to the map author. It's up to the developer on if they want to incorporate it into their map, if they want to release a version with or without it. But by releasing a version, only a version with it, you're limiting yourself to just a subset of PC players. But if you hold that you want the ultimate in realism, and you feel Terra Life Plus is how you're going to get that, that's fine. That's your choice. So, you know, they would get far more Mod Hub rewards by having a console variant without it and a PC version with it. Because we know just about every console player is going to download every map that ever comes out to give it a spin. Right, so that's a huge number of downloads. And PC players that don't want to play on it can download the console version and enjoy that. PC players that want to use it will download the Terra Life Plus version. So you get access to as many players as possible that way. And I would have to think, I haven't seen directions on how to make a map compatible with it, but I would have to think that overall it's just a whole bunch of drag and drop the scripts and the textures and the changed in XML files in, and then changing up your mod desk to reference those, and there's probably code snippets you just paste in. But my overall map making ignorance may be showing through that. I think if you develop the map without it first, you could probably convert a map to have it in pretty short order. Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool concept for sure. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done that video. Or those 2 videos. Yeah, seasons in 17 was not a Giants mod, but Giants saw the huge interest from the console side of things, and basically approached Realismus about implementing the scripts for seasons into a game update to basically get around the whole you can't have scripts in a mod. Well, if we bundle those scripts as part of the game in a game update, then the seasons mod can just be the XMLs and the textures and such that then references those now scripts that are built in. But there's still Realismus's scripts at the end of the day, right? They didn't become Giants property. And that's why we don't see seasons in 22. We see Giants' interpretation of how they wish to implement the changing of the seasons visually and the implementation of a growth calendar into 22. It would be nice if in 25 we had hay drying and grass rotting. I wouldn't hold out hope for it, but it might be one of those unannounced things that we just find out. What's up, Steve the Farmer? So, if in theory, they came out with Terra Life Plus, let's say 6 to 9 months after FS25 launched, and let's say that it was just blazing hit. Lots of people wanted to use it. Lots of maps were being released with it. And it became pretty clear that the console player base was being left out in the dry. It wouldn't be beyond Giants to look to release a game update and work with farming agency to add those scripts to the game so that they could add a console variant of the mod that would allow console players to make use of it, assuming that the scripts didn't add any adverse load to the game performance for consoles. All right, here we go. Let's do carrots. And we'll do strawberries in the other one. Why I don't want cucumbers on here. Water compost. Water compost. Water compost. Wait, I gotta do both? Oh. Well, this is a pain in the butt. I don't have anything that can make manure. Can I buy manure? I don't think I can. I don't think I can buy it, people. You know what should be nice? Search feature. Search manure. And then it'd show you any mod that dealt with manure. Isn't that a great idea? Alright, well, we're going to have to deal with that later. Take this back to the farm. We'll close out for the night. So, we've done a little bit of work on checking out and testing the snow mask on Nebraska lands. There are some buildings in town and some other areas that definitely need a little bit of rework on the snow mask. So CCS 101 needs to work on that. I do know that the PDAs have been generated and have been sent off, or will be sent off soon for his review. And those are the few things that I know that were outstanding in order to go for a release. So it's really down to how quickly those things can be resolved. They were close. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to put a time frame in, because things can get delayed. But I feel we're close. David, don't give away my secrets. Don't give away my secrets, because next time we come back here, we're going to have working greenhouses. Right? Don't give away my secrets, dude. Don't give away my secrets. So, like I said and alluded to earlier, we know we are going to get fact sheets tomorrow. It's not a surprise. We're going to have fact sheets for the next 8 Fridays, because we have 8.5 weeks till the release of Farming Simulator 25. So come back tomorrow for my rundown on the fact sheets for this week. What are we going to learn? Are we going to have any new brands? Don't know. You got to come back and find out. What kind of returning brands and implements are we going to have? Don't know. You're going to have to come back and find out. But what I do know is we'll have all that information here tomorrow. Same time Giants releases fact sheets, depending on where you are in your time zone. Hopefully next week we'll learn about green beans. And, well, who knows what else might be coming around the horn from those crazy guys at Giant Software. Until next time, happy farming.